Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on cryptocurrency, which I'm very excited to be presenting. I will mention the information in this presentation is of a general nature only. The material has been prepared without taking into account your personal objectives, financial situation or needs, and should not be relied upon as a substitute for financial advice. I'll also mention that if you have any questions during the presentation, we will have time for Q&A at the end of the session, so please raise them via the Q&A button in the middle of your screen. So by way of introduction, I've been working in the financial services industry for 25 years. Now, in my experience, I've never seen as much growth or interest in learning about a specific asset class as I've witnessed in the past 18 months in cryptocurrency. Now, I'm fortunate enough that thanks to my job, I've needed to understand how crypto operates, and I've been highly engaged with the market since its early inception. But the big question I'm asked now, almost daily, by those wanting to get into crypto is, am I too late? And so with me today to answer that question, among many others, is Cointree's Chief Operations Officer, Jess Renden. With a background in fintech, Jess has combined her passion for crypto with her management skills to help build Cointree into one of Australia's leading cryptocurrency exchanges. Welcome, Jess.
Hi, Olivia. I'm very excited to be here today.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you start by telling us a bit about Cointree?
Yes, fantastic. So for those of you that don't know, Cointree is a Melbourne-based digital currency exchange. And what a digital currency exchange is, it is a platform that facilitates the ability to buy, sell and trade cryptocurrency assets. And so we've been established since 2013. I joined in 2017, right before that first, boom, we could call it. And it's been a very exciting journey since then. In 2018, for us, we launched Cointree.com, which provided us the ability to be able to support a lot of other cryptocurrency assets. And currently now, to date, we support over 170 with a lot more to come. And in the last 18 months as a business, we actually received some strategic investment with some incredible stakeholders coming on board who are going to be providing us with some quite unique features, which I'll allude to a little later today. We've seen strength to strength over this year. Particularly, we've grown quite a big team here in Melbourne, and we've now been able to really develop our platforms than just having that ability to trade. You can now do so many more things on the platform. You can set up automated trading, dollar cost averaging, paying bills, all sorts of tax features and reporting. So we're really trying to have an all-encompassing and really easy to use platform for those who are looking to get into cryptocurrency and start their investments.
Okay, so that sounds good because I know I've got a number of clients today, and we're going to start with the basics,
yes.
which really is, what is cryptocurrency?
Okay, so I often get this a lot as well myself when I mention I work for a cryptocurrency exchange, and I kind of get that, oh yeah, Bitcoin. So what cryptocurrency is, it's a digital currency that is secured with cryptography. And so what that means is when, Bitcoin's the main one that we all know about, and Bitcoin has really now competed against traditional assets, but it's now evolved to not just Bitcoin, but thousands of other cryptocurrency assets, and those they've actually really evolved into being able to be really interesting projects. Ethereum's one of them as well, and so cryptocurrency actually powers specific networks such as Ethereum. So I know a lot of customers are probably interested in different types of assets, and that's where we obviously have the availability for a lot more there. So when you look at cryptocurrency, it is essentially, money, or digital money, that was initially built for the internet, but it's certainly used in so many different ways now.
Okay. So how do you actually pay for things with crypto? Because I know I went to do a transaction even last night for something I was buying overseas, and it said that pay in dollars or you can transfer Bitcoin. So how do people do that?
Yeah, easy. So we have a couple of ways of being able to do that. So Olivia, say if you used a Cointree account and you had some Bitcoin in your wallet, what you would be able to do is send that Bitcoin from your Cointree wallet directly to that vendor. And the vendor would have a wallet address that you would need to input in order to send your Bitcoin and the amount that you would need to transact with directly to that vendor. and it's instant. So when you make that transaction, and we can touch on the blockchain a little bit more later, it's instantly there with the vendor. So you've made that payment right away rather than setting up bank accounts and things like that too. So that's one way. There are a lot of other, there's a lot of businesses who have cards where you can load your Bitcoin onto a card. You can pay your bills. So with us, we have a full BPay feature where you're able to pay any Australian BPay bill with a biller code, and you can use any crypto asset you hold with us, and we convert that for you to AUD and make the payment for you. So there's so many different ways it's incorporated into daily lives now.
Yeah. Okay. So I can see personally, like, why trading in Bitcoin would be better, because I know when you're trying to, let's face it, we're all buying stuff online these days and buying stuff from internationally even. And when you have to trade internationally, there's always that time delay. If you've got to buy something, can you transfer the money via an account? You have to wire it. You have to do all of that. But if you trade in Bitcoin, you just press the button and they get it straight away.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the beauty of the blockchain, really, is that you're able to have that visibility of your transaction throughout that process.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's real. That's what you call a real global economy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not just restricted within Australia to transact to an Australian bank account. You can transact anywhere over the world to anyone. That's the beauty of it, really.
Wow. Okay. So just explain for us then. So what is the blockchain?
Yeah, so the blockchain is a decentralized ledger in summary, which breaking it down, it's a technology which makes cryptocurrency possible. So if we think about it, or as the name really suggests, the blockchain is a growing list of all the transactions called blocks, and they're all linked technically or chained together using cryptography. And so the way that it works is the blockchain's distributed and duplicated across a global network of really, computers, if we really, summarize it down. So you can go to the blockchain and check any transaction using a transaction ID or checking a wallet, and you can search that and you'll be able to get all the lists of the transactions that have taken place. So it's completely transparent. And that's the purpose of what it's been built upon as well, the transparency, and that you're able to really have that visibility of transactions.
Yeah. And so if I wanted to see a general ledger, so like for Ethereum, to see that, have that visibility, where do you go to actually physically find the ledger?
Yeah, so then each cryptocurrency has its respective blockchain. So if we talk to Bitcoin, you could go to blockchain.com and you would be able to search the appropriate detail that you would have to be able to check that transaction. When we talk to Ethereum, you would use Etherscan's one of them, where you'll be able to check the Ethereum chain to be able to see where that transaction's taken place. And it provides you with all the detail, which I find fascinating. It's not like a bank account where you see, date, debtor or whomever you've transacted to and the amount. You're able to see the date, the amount, like the seconds it's come through, whether it's been withdrawn. And it's incredible the way that it works.
Yeah. Wow. So with that transparency and with that immediate transfer of effectively currency, do you think blockchain technology is going to be the way of the future? What's going to will it overtake the banks?
Yeah, well, we certainly believe here at Cointree as well. We see the value with cryptocurrency, and I really think that it's going to really make its mark over the coming years. When you look at blockchain technology and the peer-to-peer transaction, that's a decentralized platform, and that you're not restricted by other intermediaries like a bank. Yeah. Why wouldn't it start to grow further? And it's not just unique to cryptocurrency. So when we look at the blockchain technology is utilized across hundreds of different sectors now. It's starting to being used into like agri-tech and and other types of technology businesses. So it's so adaptable and adoptable that so many other industries are so involved in it now. It's so exciting to see where it goes. And when we take it back to crypto, we've already seen Bitcoin start to challenge traditional assets. And I guess, that's part of as well today is SMSFs looking to diversify into cryptocurrency as well. So we're really starting to see that mature and that belief behind it as well.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few different types of terms that we're hearing at the moment around crypto. So there's not just buying and selling crypto. what is cryptocurrency mining? And Bitcoin mining is one that most people have probably heard of. But what is that? How do you mine Bitcoin? Most people at that point, like I know my father-in-law go, like, you've lost me, entirely lost me. And he gives up. But what is it?
Yeah, I will say, I think a lot of people coming on board, and even myself in the very early days, had a very different idea of mining, a more traditional idea, I think. Yeah. And so the way that cryptocurrency mining works, and it was, I guess, extremely, extremely popular back in 2017, particularly. I think a lot of people I even knew were trying to mine for Bitcoin. And the way that it works and the purpose behind it is that cryptocurrency mining is to add new transactions to the blockchain, so to be able to add more blocks in a safe and secure way. So cryptocurrency mining, that process really determines who can add a new block or a new list of transactions. And the way that that works and the ability to do that, which I found fascinating, in order to add a new block as such, Bitcoin miners need to solve a really complicated, like mathematical algorithm or puzzle, I guess, if we're talking really basically. And then once they solve that, they're then rewarded in different ways. And one of them is obviously receiving, Bitcoin for that as well. So there's value to the miner, and then and that they are incentivized as well, that, once they solve that, they add another block to the chain, and then they obviously are incentivized by receiving that Bitcoin as well.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I know. Yeah. Interesting. So what's cryptocurrency staking?
Yeah, so staking has been something that has really been quite a buzzword of 2021, I'd say. So if we look at it in a really simple way, so staking, it is another way to secure the cryptocurrency network. But if we look at it, it gives anyone who holds cryptocurrency the ability to sort of stake or even hold their crypto with a form of provider, and they can actually earn, maybe not rewards, but maybe earn a form of interest on that cryptocurrency. So they're technically staking their coins as potential like collateral as such. And then, so it's a really new concept, something that we're still really working through here at Cointree as well, because we get asked if we support staking. And it's something that we're certainly looking into too.
Yeah. Because I think staking, I sort of, in my brain, I compute it too. It's like giving someone a loan, even though you don't, and then you get interest for the loan, but with staking you don't. It's kind of like Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And there's quite a lot of different staking pools as well. Yeah. And it depends as well what type of, I guess, wallet you use, because I know some are supported through certain cold wallets and things like that as well. So it gets further down. It's further down the train. But yeah, it's that ability to be able to sort of stake and loan it as such to potentially receive a benefit back.
Yeah. So that's you've said a good term, which I hear a lot, and that is a cold wallet. So if anyone that doesn't know, what's a cold wallet?
Yeah, okay. I guess if I take it back just to understand how different types of storage works just quickly within exchanges. So as an exchange ourselves, Cointree customers can hold some assets on our platform. So that's obviously that we're holding it for customers. However, that can often be perceived as a risk. And so the way that I guess we as a business operate, we actually hold a very large majority of customer assets externally on what's called a cold wallet. Now, anyone can have a cold wallet, and we call them hardware wallets as such. So there's a variety of different types of hardware wallets available. Trezor and Ledger are the two main brands that support that ability. And the way it works is it's cold offline storage. So it means it's in your possession, and the only time that it would obviously be available to, like, say, the internet or that form of compromise is when you're sort of connecting it to your device to send and transact assets. Otherwise, think of it as like a vault. It's like a crypto vault that's offline. No one can touch it. And you get to hold your assets in your own possession. Now, we very fully support that, particularly for people who decide to, transact large volumes as well. We give the ability for customers to be able to withdraw their assets to their respective wallets. Yeah.
It looks like a mini hard drive, sort of, doesn't it?
It looks like a mini hard drive or like a USB. Like they look, there's some
little USB.
Yeah, there's some new ones out now which have got like metal tapping and codes and stuff like that. They're all encrypted with very secure technology, I should add as well, with seeds and seed phrases and things like that. But that's going down, I guess, a more detailed path. So and
how do people buy cold wallets?
Oh, really easy. You can buy them online. We work with a provider called CoinStop. They're also Aussie based and we know them quite well. And the guys are happy to be able to provide support on getting it all set up. And you can choose, there's all different options available. Yeah. And we're actually doing some, I think, in a giveaway this week too. So yeah, anyone who's a
There you
lucky
go.
customer might get one.
There's that. We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
How to get access to that. That's great. So if someone wants to buy crypto, this is the other biggest question I get. How do I buy crypto? Where do I start?
Yeah. Very common question. So I guess the first and the most safest places to start is with a really reputable and secure exchange. And so I always recommend that anyone does their due diligence on any exchange that they use. Just for, I guess, on a side note, all Australian digital currency exchanges must be registered with AUSTRAC, and AUSTRAC's our governing body as well. So that's something that's really important to check. Don't just pick anyone. If you look to an exchange like Cointree, we've obviously been around for quite a long time. And all you need to do, Olivia, is to create an account. So that is literally done within 5 minutes. You need your ID with you, and obviously just having some really basic personal details to set up an account. And then you're approved within 5 minutes. And then once you make a deposit, so we accept deposits in AUD, you can create a deposit either through an online transfer. You can use Pay ID, so you can pay it instantly. And you can also use cash. And once that payment's cleared to your account, which depending on your deposit method can also be immediate as well, you're able to transact as little as $20. So you can buy as low as $20 worth of Bitcoin. And you do that through our really straightforward interface. You just put in the amount and then we take care of the rest. So we equivalate how much Bitcoin you'll receive and we credit your account right away.
So that's as easy as trading shares, really.
Probably easier sometimes.
But it's quicker because there's no settlement period. You could do the Pay ID, you transfer the money, you've got it in there and you can buy it straight away and you own it straight away.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. And with your Cointree account, you're able to have access to all your wallets. So you're able to see what you're holding, what AUD you're holding, all sorts of things. So yeah, it makes it really, really simple. And you can go from AUD to any asset as well. So any of the cryptocurrencies we provide, you're able to go straight from your AUD to that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question is, so what do Cointree charge? What do you charge to do that?
Yeah, so we've got a tiered fee system. So our model is just charging a really small commission fee on each transaction, and it starts as low as 0.9%. And we have a variety of tiers. So based on your trading volume. So if anyone's looking to invest as well with like your self-managed super fund, those tiers move really quickly because based on your trading volume as well, you can go down to as low as 0.5% pretty quickly. And so it's all automated. So our system knows exactly how much you trade and we can move your tier sort of with the cheaper fees accordingly. When you look at crypto to crypto assets though, Olivia, it gets even cheaper. So we're 0.25 when it comes to trading just crypto to crypto. So like say Bitcoin to Ethereum or Cardano or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not much at all. Okay, all good questions. And one that I get regularly is can self-manage, how can I buy crypto with my super? That's where it starts. I want to get into crypto. I don't have savings because I'm young, but I can do it with my super. The only way that people can do it at this point in time is via a self-managed super fund.
Yes.
Now, to establish a self-managed super fund, just for those that may be new to it, is to actually establish a new superannuation vehicle. So it's not a simple, straightforward process. You need to understand what's involved with setting up a self-managed super fund. But feel free to go to YouTube and Google Cointree and ExpertSuper for SMSF. There's a great webinar there actually that we did recently that will talk all about how to do it with your superannuation money. But that is actually one of the benefits of self-managed super, is that it's the only super vehicle where you can actually diverse and get some of your funds into the crypto market, which is growing so quickly. One of the things that I really like about Cointree personally and that I use is your learning centre. It's fine because this is an area where a lot of people talk about in Australia. It's like, I'm interested in crypto. Where can I get some advice about what to buy? How do I do it? And the problem that no one realises is that there are actually no licensed financial advisors in Australia to give advice on cryptocurrency because the market is so volatile and still so new. And even the underlying coins and crypto that's being released is constantly so new. No one's able to give that advice, nor are they actually licensed. No one's got professional indemnity insurance to do it. So if people want to buy crypto, most people are just buying Bitcoin because that's all they've heard of. Which seems to be the case. But if people actually want to get into crypto, like where do they go? If they've got, say you've got $10,000, where should I start?
Yeah, and it's tricky because there are so many different, there's so many different cryptocurrency assets. And so when we make that decision as well to be able to put an asset on our platform, we obviously go through that due diligence process as well. So if you're looking as to where to start, it's often quite confusing. And so what we try and do, we really try and provide, because as you mentioned, Olivia, we can't provide financial advice, but what we can do is equip all of our members and anyone new to the market with the best tools available. So then you can educate yourself as well to understand what all the different assets are. And so by doing that, we have coin information pages on every single asset, which gives you a lot of information on the trading history and charting and things like that. And then what we do is we actually provide best performing portfolios. So we anonymize our customer portfolios and we can surface the best performing portfolios in the last 7 days. So you can go to cointree.com/portfolios and that will actually come up with a full list of portfolios that you can then view all the different assets that are performing and how they've been going in the last week. Now, soon that will have very exciting functionality, I'll just say. At the moment, you can view all of that data, and very soon you'll be able to really easily acquire those portfolios, if I'm not giving too much away. So that's the first step, because I know myself, a lot of people come to me as well and go, oh, what should I get? And common question being in the role that I'm in. And, I often say, have a look at this page, because it's showing what they are investing in, and how that goes. When we look at another feature though, with the dollar cost averaging, I think that's a really, really easy way. And we have that through our automated trading station. So we've got automated trades. And so what you can do is you can credit your Cointree account. So say you've got your $10,000 in there, and you can set up based on the frequency of your choice as to how often you want to purchase a particular asset. Now, last time in our last webinar, we might have touched on this quickly, and it was restrictive to BTC at that time, but it's now open to all assets we provide. So you're able to set up automated buys of any cryptocurrency asset, and we just debit your Cointree account. So we just make that trade, and that as long as you've got AUD credit in your Cointree account, that trade will continue. And I find that the best way because, I know we're all busy in our lives at the moment too. So you can set something up that is going to execute. And then you can dollar cost average your assets, because you can see you'll be purchasing at different times, but obviously being able to have, having a value to that as well. So we've got those features in place. And then when we look at the knowledge base and the learning hub, we've really gone full throttle with that. I highly recommend anyone checking it out at the end of today, because our team have worked really, really hard on being able to provide some really detailed information and articles on all different types of projects as well, like DeFi and NFTs and all sorts. So really, really valuable source to learn more.
I saw recently that what are non-fungible tokens was actually one of the most searched terms on Google. Did you see that? It was nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah. So are you able to explain for the layperson what it is?
Yeah, NFTs along with staking, I think has been 2021's buzzwords in all honesty. But you know what? NFTs I have found really, really interesting. So they're really empowering like your artists and musicians and the creators of the world. And what it does is it gives anyone really the ability to have maybe more control over their art or work that they do, and they can actually tokenize it. So it's a non-fungible token where they can tokenize what would be more of a traditional asset. So say an artwork, like a piece of art, and you can tokenize that. And then you can have that available on platforms such as like OpenSea is a really popular place for people to have a look and see what NFTs are available. And then as just an everyday person, we don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars to be buying this real life print, but you're able to have a part of it digitally. And there are so many different projects on that as well. And that has been a very, very fast moving space this year.
Yeah, so is that where I've heard, so for example, I could take a photo of myself,
Yeah.
put it up there, and people might pay for the right to have access to my photo that I've put up there.
Well, yes, in all simplicity, yes, yeah. And there are some very interesting pieces on there, and some of them are collectible. Some of them even have different types of properties. So some have come out with different series, so different series releases of these, of projects as well. And some of them are collectible. Some of them have really unique properties to them. It's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, at this point, we're nearly ready to open it up to questions. But before I do, I don't know if you saw one of the areas that I suppose, another question that I get is people that are concerned about the risk associated with crypto, being hacked, being lost, or I know there was even a story on the news last night about someone who'd managed to steal some crypto from people. So how does that happen, and what should people be aware of to make sure that they're not caught by those risks?
Yeah. And it has been something that's been quite highlighted in the industry over the years. I'm pleased, though, to say that over the last couple of years, particularly, cryptocurrency and exchanges and businesses have matured significantly. And a few things to really be mindful of in that side of things is that make sure you are using really, really secure passwords. Do not use pre-existing passwords to your crypto accounts. Always set up some form of multi-factor authentication. So all exchanges have different types, YubiKeys, 2FA, all types of different authentication to protect your accounts. And then always be really careful on where you trade. In the line of work that we're in, there are certainly bad actors, and there can be lots of people promoting, funds and buy through us and things like that. That's where I mentioned at the beginning of today, make sure you do your due diligence, because there obviously are some bad actors out there, and it doesn't, I guess it doesn't help exchanges like us in Australia try and promote that as security and things like that as well. So and learn how to use a cold wallet as well. I think there's been a lot of discussion about, exchanges, keeping it on an exchange and things like that too. And I think it's really important to learn how to use cold storage, because then you've got the access yourself and you're holding your assets yourself. And if you do invest with a self-managed super fund and you're buying that wallet through the SMSF as well, then you've got that additional security. And don't follow any links. Don't follow any links or any ads. I know that might seem really silly, but some of them are really persuasive. So don't follow any sort of links or advertising like that. It's best to go directly to, the exchange you know and trust.
Yeah, and look, another tip is when you're downloading or about to download, don't click on the help button on any related topics, because sometimes hackers can get into the help questions and you can think that you're talking to someone there in chat, and they're not, and then they can actually interrupt the download process. So I think really understanding how to download securely to cold storage is great, but for many people, it's really just like downloading to a USB. You would have.
Well, yeah, when you are utilizing your crypto wallet, it's not even that. You're actually sending your assets through the blockchain directly to your wallet. So you've got that clear level of transparency when you see those transactions take place and then make it to your wallet as well. I would certainly flag if anyone's trying to offer you forms of tech support by remotely logging into your computer and things like that, because that is something that no one does. And so, just red flags when if any things like that come up. But otherwise, just really going back to the basics of making sure you've got really secure password, multi-factor authentication, and that you don't share your details with anyone else. Really important to make sure that you do that.
And that's another benefit, I think, of someone like Cointree, is that if you've got a question like that, you can phone up and actually someone will answer the phone and they'll be able to tell you the answer. There's that you need a human level of service, I think, no matter how automated the space gets, which is important.
And I was going to say, Olivia, as well, we are probably one of the only exchanges in Australia you can call. And you can call. We've got a phone number that you can call, and you can talk directly to our team. So, that's something to just always note as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we don't have any questions. So
answer them.
Here we go. First question, can we buy XLM, or is it restricted to US residents?
Good question. We have so many different tokens and coins available. I'm going to have a quick look. But there are sometimes restrictions on certain assets. So some assets are available within a certain type of pair. So that potentially may be, available only through like maybe a USDT pair and things like that. Personally, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to have a quick look on our site whilst maybe we can jump through to another question as well. But I'm just having a quick look to see what we've got.
Absolutely. I'll keep going. So people have asked why, is the ATO onto cryptocurrency now? Which is a great question, because years ago they weren't, but the fact is now that the ATO will know what who's transacting in crypto.
Yeah. So I guess just quickly before I do get to the ATO question, we do have Stellar. I just forgot it's obviously its tag name. So we do have that available on the platform at the moment. So you should be able to go AUD to that, and feel free to reach out to our support team as well if you're using our platform and you can't, and they'll be able to help out as well. When we touch on the ATO, so I think originally when cryptocurrency and Bitcoin was first coming out, everyone was heavy advocates of the fact that it is something that is anonymized and that you don't have that level of personal identification to it. But as businesses mature and as industries mature, of course the ATO are very aware of what everyone is transacting, and we make sure as well that we obviously do provide that ability to be able to give the appropriate tax reporting for your accountant. And we of course work with the ATO as well. All Australian exchanges would. And I'm sure anyone who has invested in cryptocurrency in the last year would have had a prompt in their tax return saying, please make sure you enter in and upload your transactions, because obviously CGT is applicable accordingly.
And that helps answer a question that Victor has asked, and that's, why is it necessary for crypto to be converted to a currency prior to being transacted? Well, really, I think, Victor, the question you mean is, to even buy crypto to start with, you need to, at this point, either be buying with other crypto, or you need to basically take your cash. So say you've got a self-managed super fund, you're going to have to transfer your cash into a crypto account in order to actually buy the crypto. Now, the tax implications once you actually buy crypto are the same as any other assets. So if you make a lot of money, say you make $100,000 and then you dispose of the crypto, then you're subject to capital gains on that $100,000 that you've made. But why are things not priced in cryptocurrency to begin with? I suppose that's because we're not on a...
I was just rereading through Victor's question here as well, because it's a little bit tricky, because you've got here, if you want to purchase something online, I don't think it necessarily needs to be converted to AUD. When I was speaking earlier about bill payments, that's because obviously in order to transact for a BPay payment, that typically would need to go from the crypto asset to the AUD value for that to be paid. But some vendors do accept it in cryptocurrency, just flat out in Bitcoin. And so, so then that makes it easier. So there isn't actually that taxable sort of event as such, because you are just sending your assets. So you've bought your Bitcoin originally, and then you're sending a portion of that to be able to transact on that platform. Okay. I don't know if that's properly answered it, but that's, I guess, my small take on, it's not always necessarily converted back from crypto to AUD.
Gotcha. Okay, so the next question is, can you own non-fungible tokens in a self-managed super fund? And the answer is that yes, you can, provided that you adhere to the collectibles rule. And that is that you need to make sure that there's no personal benefit received from it now, basically in the fund. So with the collectibles rule, for example, you can't, if you buy a painting, you can't put it up on the wall in your home and use it now. So I suppose with an NFT, if you acquire it, you can't put it on your computer screen or do whatever you do and benefit from it now. So that's where we sit at this point. The next question is a great one. If I tragically die and my house burns to the ground in a blazing fire, no drama, Robbie, how can I ensure my family can access my crypto stored on the blockchain? Are there any regulatory measures to store your private key in a bank vault or with someone else?
That's a very good question, Robbie. Okay, I'm only going to lightly touch on this one. And I'm actually going to refer to a little bit more to even an exchange as well. So we often get requested like access for someone else's account due to an unfortunate circumstance, or potentially even with an SMSF as well if there's a deceased member. And so we as an exchange often get asked as to how can I obviously get access to those assets and things like that. And we go through obviously an appropriate process to do due diligence on that family member to then be able to potentially give them access to those assets. And obviously there's quite a process to do that. When you look into obviously the blockchain and whatnot, as we sort of touched on before, you're obviously able to check a balance of a wallet. And if you have that wallet address, I think we always would recommend, Robbie, that you keep those private keys extremely safe. And we've often been asked as well, should people incorporate it in a will or something, something extremely secretive as well, so that if there is an event and they're holding a large amount of cryptocurrency, that private key is also, I guess, available at that point in time. I don't know if I've quite answered all of the question there, but that's just a
great question. So I can see, for example, I have some crypto that I still hold on an exchange and some that I hold on a cold wallet.
Yeah.
If I was to die, it would be quite easy for my legal personal representative to come in and talk to the provider who's holding it on my behalf as to what to do with it. But if they didn't know where I've kept my cold wallet or the private key, which is, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically a series of letters or words or numbers or whatever that is personalized to your cold wallet.
Yeah.
If they didn't have both of those, then that crypto would be gone forever.
It's extremely difficult to access without. I guess
that happens. So what happens? How much crypto is out there that's just been lost? I mean, we've all heard the horror stories of people buying Bitcoin years ago and losing keys.
Yeah.
What happens then? Is it lost forever?
Well, I think we all heard of the person who had stored their crypto on their computer. I think it was in the UK. It was a few years ago. And he had some enormous reward for anyone who could even find the computer, because that's where he had his private keys stored, and he couldn't actually access anything without getting that. And it was worth, I think, millions and millions of dollars at that time. And so, like I mentioned before, I think it's appropriate that if you are, someone who is holding a large amount of cryptocurrency, that you put appropriate measures in place to make sure that if your assets need to be accessed, that they can be done so. I know of a lot of people who have really not old school, but a little bit old school and traditional breakdowns of seed phrases and private keys and things like that to be able to access wallets, and it's distributed really secretly amongst family members, all sorts of things. And like we mentioned at the beginning, I'm not giving out the advice here, but I certainly think that it's appropriate to take that action to make sure that your assets are accessible to your family if that's something that you're holding.
Yeah, and that's smart. And I think that's the first place you should start after opening an account, is who's got access to this and what happens in the, if the worst thing happens. So the next question is, if someone trades through you, Cointree, and they leave it on your exchange and Cointree collapses or goes under as a company, what happens then?
Couple of different things, I guess, if we're considering different things. So if we talk about the security side first. So as an exchange, we of course operate with the highest security policies as that we can, and security measures. And that's just not only with the platform, but that's actually internally with our full team as well, in respect to training, qualifications, things like that as well. And then storage of customer assets. And I mentioned earlier that we actually keep a very, very, I guess, the majority of customer assets offline, because we like to optimize that security for customers as well. And so, if in that event, we try and make sure that security side is kept high at all times. If you look at a potential outage of a platform or something like that, that doesn't necessarily indicate any loss of assets as such. So when we talk about technical downtime or things like that, we like to make sure that we have an extremely high level of uptime with our platform, and our development team work really, really hard to ensure that as well, to make sure that our platform's accessible. We're accessible 24/7, right? So we're not just like a bank with standard transaction times and things things like that. We're accessible 24/7. And I guess I can sort of say I've lived and breathed that for a long time. So, you know, our team try and ensure the optimum security for our members. So one of the questions I think also relates in the Q&A part here as well is a little bit similar, is that, you know, is it safe to keep crypto in your wallet? And I think I've answered that with that's how we and many exchanges would operate as well, with those best security practices. But we give you the ability to withdraw it. And that's something that we're very transparent about. You can withdraw the asset to your desired wallet of choice if you prefer to have it in your own custody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is a good one. How is a specific coin's yield per annum determined when staking? So some coins that earn anywhere up to 6%, all the way up to thousands of percentages per annum.
I actually don't know the answer to that. I'm going to be
Fair enough.
straight out here. However, I know there's quite a lot of staking services available, and something we have been looking into here. I mentioned that earlier as well. And I think some other exchanges are also looking to support staking soon. So I'm sure there would be a lot more information in our learning hub as well on that. And I also highly recommend reaching out to the team too, if you do have any further details on questions like that as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that appears to be it for questions. So in closing, I'll say thank you so much for your time. If people want to find out more about anything that we've talked about today, or they want to find out about working with Cointree, what next?
Yeah, so from our side, we have, like Olivia mentioned, we actually have a phone number, quite rare. And so all of our contact details are available on our contact page. So just go to cointree.com and you're able to contact the team through there. I highly recommend setting up an account. It's simple. It takes 5 minutes. And if you have any questions at all, our support team are available to assist. And check out that learning hub too. It's full of information. Our content and growth team are constantly updating it. We actually do weekly emails out to customers as well, which will be going out today, which gives you a few indicators on which assets are going well and things like that too. So if you haven't signed up, sign up now. I highly recommend, so you can get those insights as well. Yeah, we are running a couple of competitions this week too. It's our 8th birthday, and we're running a few promotions. So if you do sign up and you trade, you go into the daily draw up until Sunday. So be a part of it.
Signing up with your personal name. It's really easy. It's worthwhile, even just for the weekly updates. They're fantastic. So awesome. Thank you very much, Jess.
Thanks so much
for listening. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.